Hey y'all, welcome back to the Chucktown Chick. I have recently acquired a lot of subscribers from a particular Facebook group entitled I Just Moved to Charleston, South Carolina. So I thought I'd make a video with all of y'all in mind, all you new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and welcome to Charleston, South Carolina. I thought I'd bring you out here today on this very chilly fall windy day and tell you about something that's very important to South Carolinians. If you are new to Charleston or if you're visiting here, you're going to see something that we are so very proud of. We display it very honorably. We are very proud of our state flag. Not only are you going to see it flying outside of municipal buildings where you would normally see a state flag flying, but you're also going to see it on bumper stickers, on hats, on coffee mugs, and on t-shirts. You're going to see it everywhere because we are so very proud to be the Palmetto State. So I thought I'd bring y'all out here to Fort Moultrie, what is present day Fort Moultrie, and tell you a little bit about our state flag. Now our state flag, as you can see on my shirt, has three elements. Number one, it is on a field of blue. It's a specific shade of blue. We'll talk about that momentarily. And then it has the palmetto tree. We're going to discuss the palmetto tree and what it actually means to be the Palmetto State and why we're very proud of that. And it contains a crescent. That crescent is not a crescent moon. A lot of people think it is a crescent moon, but it's not. It is simply a crescent. A crescent is a piece of jewelry worn by British military. It distinguished rank. It was also the symbol for the second son. Now, Charleston was named for Charles II, and a lot of those early settlers were second-born sons in their families. There was a law in England that stated if you inherited any wealth that your father had, you had to be the firstborn son. So a lot of second-born sons in families in England were not going to inherit anything. Even if their family had a lot of wealth, they weren't going to get any of it. Their older brother was going to get it. So a lot of our early settlers were second-born sons. They figured, what do they have to lose? Come over here and try to make some wealth over here in a new world. So that crescent is actually a symbol for the second son and a very honorable officer rank in British military. And a lot of those early settlers did serve time in the British military too before coming over here. So we're gonna show you that first, show you that crescent, show you what it looks like. Then we'll talk a little bit about the palmetto tree after that. So now you see back behind me is present day Fort Moultrie. You see the cannons back behind me here. You see the brick wall. But in 1776, it was not a brick wall. This was an earthen-made fort with no name. It was commanded by General Moultrie at that particular point in time. Now on June 28, 1776, right before sunrise, right at dawn, the militia that inhabited this particular fort, it wasn't Fort Moultrie then, it was just an earthen fort built out of palmetto logs. That militia looked out on the horizon and they saw a fleet of naval ships from Britain coming. Now at the time, this was the first fort of defense in Charleston. I'm looking across from me right now. I'm standing on Sullivan's Island Beach. I'm looking across and I see Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter didn't exist back then. So on June 28, 1776, Britain had kind of gotten the idea that we were a little fed up and that we were going to declare our independence. Now, they sent their fleet over, keeping in mind that fort behind us, present-day Fort Moultrie, was an earthen fort. It was built out of palmetto logs. The walls of that fort were enforced with palmetto logs. We used what we had around us to build those fort walls with. Palmetto wood is very soft. So when the British naval ships started firing cannons over at that fort to break it down, the soft wood of those palmetto logs absorbed those cannonballs being fired at it. They didn't explode, they simply sunk into the wood of those palmetto logs. And in true Southern hospitality fashion, we did our very best to be mannerly. We returned those cannonballs right back to the British Navy. It was actually the first victory of the Revolutionary War, first official battle of the Revolutionary War, and it was won by that militia here in South Carolina. That set forth the Revolutionary War, but that first victory really was important. So after that victory, the palmetto tree was added to the South Carolina state flag. Very proud of our palmettos here. We are the Palmetto State. The palmetto tree is our state flag for that particular reason. Now, the next thing to learn about with our state flag is the color. That dark blue color, that's indigo. And to learn a little bit more about indigo, we're going to go over to Boone Hall Plantation. They still grow a demonstration crop of indigo, and I'll tell y'all a little bit more about that once we get over there. Y'all, this is indigo. As you can see, indigo is a little green plant. But when you chop it up, throw it in boiling water and add uric acid to it, it exudes a very dark blue dye called indigo. England fell in love with that dye back in the 1600s. They used it to dye drapes, all sorts of textiles. The British naval uniforms were dyed with indigo. They absolutely loved it. And the cultivation of indigo is credited to a woman. Her name was Eliza Lucas Pinckney, and as a young teenage girl, her father gave her some seeds as she was leaving Barbados, told her to plant them and see what happened. She and her future husband, Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, cultivated indigo together, and they are responsible, she specifically is responsible for cultivating the first crop of indigo. Indigo is the color of our state flag because it was the first agricultural cash crop here in Carolina. Well, there you have it. Now you know everything you need to know about that state flag and why we're so proud of it here. So if you're planning a trip to Charleston or really anywhere else in South Carolina, be prepared to see it plastered all over everything because we are very proud of it. And if you're in that group that's new to Charleston, welcome new residents. Get ready to display it proudly. Now you know why you can be so proud of that state flag. Thanks for joining me, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll have more up very, very shortly. Appreciate all of you coming in to check out the Chucktown Chick, and I'll see you next time.